Hello everyone, welcome to our in-depth international affairs analysis on the Headpost channel. Please don't forget to take a second to hit the like button, share the video and subscribe to the channel. So the Headpost team has more motivation to continue bringing you the most multi-dimensional and sharp perspectives every day. It is not taking place in remote desert regions, nor does it involve missiles or drones. It is happening right at the heart of American power, federal courtrooms. And the main characters in this confrontation are President Donald Trump's administration and Anthropic, one of the world's leading tech unicorns in the field of artificial intelligence. Recently, the tech world and global security analysts witnessed a landmark event. Anthropic, the creator of the famous Claude large language model, officially filed a lawsuit against the US Department of Defense, also known as the Pentagon. The cause of this unprecedented lawsuit stems from the Pentagon's desire to dismantle the ethical barriers regarding the application of Anthropic's AI technology in military operations. When Anthropic steadfastly refused to concede, the US government responded with an extremely tough move, issuing a comprehensive ban, preventing all federal agencies from using the company's technology while labeling them with a highly sensitive tag, a national security supply chain risk, through an analytical lens. This is not merely a commercial contract dispute between a private enterprise and the state. This is, in fact, a philosophical and legal war to determine the future of AI in human security doctrines. Let's look back at Anthropic's core philosophy. From its early days, the corporation positioned itself as a pioneer in developing safe AI. Its founders have always harbored a deep-seated fear of technology spiraling out of control. Therefore, in their terms of use, they established absolute red lines. Their technology is not permitted to be integrated into autonomous weapon systems capable of making firing decisions without direct human control. Anthropic argues that the government security risk label is an irrational retaliatory punishment, as they are simply trying to protect the fundamental ethical values of technology. However, on the other side of the front line, the Pentagon holds a completely pragmatic view characterized by strategic deterrence. Senior defense officials argue that in today's complex geopolitical context, especially facing the powerful rise of rival superpowers in the AI race, the US military cannot be shackled by ethical golden hoops imposed by a private company. The toughness of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and President Trump's executive order send a clear message. Operational freedom and flexibility in applying technology to protect national interests are ultimate priorities and are non-negotiable. Banning defense contractors from using Claude is a major financial blow to Anthropic, as Pentagon contracts have always been the golden geese for Silicon Valley. However, this incident exposes a very ironic reality. On the surface, the US administration may be boycotting Anthropic, but deep within the system, the company's technology seems to have taken root too deeply in the American security ecosystem. Leaked intelligence reports show that the Pentagon has long operated a super platform called Project Maven. This is a massive data-hungry machine responsible for analyzing millions of satellite images, dissecting communication signals, and filtering intelligence gathered globally. Maven's purpose is to help strategic planners identify coordinates, classify risk levels, and establish priority for targets on the ground. And what is worth noting is, Anthropic's Claude AI model is believed to be one of the critical algorithmic cores deeply integrated into this Maven system. The power of AI has completely transformed the decision-making landscape. If previously a team of intelligence analysts took weeks to cross-reference maps, analyze behavior, and provide accurate coordinates, now with the support of AI, that massive workload is processed almost in real time, according to some unofficial sources. During the opening stages of the recent military campaign against Iran, the Maven system served as an effective advisor, supporting the US military in mapping out thousands of strategic coordinates within just 24 hours. Today, thousands of US staff officers depend on these algorithms to build response scenarios. This dependence poses a macro question for the world. Who will keep humans in the decision-making loop? When machines are capable of analyzing and proposing action plans thousands of times faster than the human brain, Will there come a day when the pressure for reaction speed forces generals to hand over full life and death authority to artificial intelligence? If the US sets ethical barriers for itself, while rival nations do not hesitate to remove all limits to develop fully autonomous systems, then Washington will lose its core competitive advantage. The legal confrontation between Anthropic and the Pentagon, therefore, does not just shape the future of a corporation. It will set the first legal precedents for how humanity uses artificial intelligence in future conflict. Leaving the bloodless technological front, let us turn our gaze to a physical hotspot that directly threatens the lifeblood of the global economy. The worst energy crisis in history at the Strait of Hormuz. In recent days, global financial markets have experienced violent tremors. Oil price charts have seen spikes, surpassing the psychological threshold of $100 per barrel. Although prices have cooled slightly today, the decline on electronic boards cannot hide a brutal reality unfolding at sea. Global oil supply is facing a historic rupture. International maritime tracking agencies have released shocking data. The Strait of Hormuz, the jugular vein of the world economy, has been almost completely frozen. About 20% of the global crude oil supply, equivalent to a staggering 20 million barrels per day, has been officially held back, unable to circulate into the market. To help you visualize the scale of this disaster, let's make a comparison with history. The previous record for the worst energy supply disruption occurred in 1956 during the Suez Crisis, when Britain, France, and Israel attacked Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. At that time, the world lost about 10% of its oil supply. Today, the crisis at Hormuz is causing twice the devastation of 1956. This is the largest energy shock ever recorded in history. The scene off the Persian Gulf right now is a picture of total gridlock. Nearly 3,000 massive ships, including supertankers and container vessels, are forced to drop anchor, floating helplessly at sea. They cannot move forward to deliver goods, nor can they turn back. The cause stems from Iran's declaration of a blockade of this strategic strait. And furthermore, they are deploying naval mines in this narrow waterway. Although the US military is attempting to intervene through airstrikes and by destroying Iran's specialized mine-laying vessels, with a massive fleet that remains 80% intact, laying hundreds of mines in these waters is a very easy task for Tehran. Even as President Donald Trump issues threats and demands that Iran remove the mines in an active war zone, mine clearance is an extremely dangerous and time-consuming task. Until these waters are confirmed safe, no shipping company dares to gamble the lives of their sailors and ships worth hundreds of millions of dollars to pass through. The gridlock at sea immediately created a domino effect on land. The four giants of the region's energy extraction industry, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, and Kuwait, were forced to make a reluctant decision, lowering their collective production capacity by about 6.7 million barrels per day. This means that 6% of the world's supply has evaporated. Why did they have to cut production while the world is thirsty for oil? The answer lies in the basic physics of storage. When supertankers cannot set sail to release cargo, the amount of oil pumped from wells quickly overwhelms onshore storage systems. Tank capacity is limited, therefore closing the valves on the wells is the only solution to avoid an onshore oil spill disaster. The ironic reality here is oil is still abundant underground. The core problem is not a shortage of supply, but the paralysis of the logistics chain. A narrow strip of blocked water has frozen the entire circulatory system of the global economy. Facing the risk of recession, international energy regulatory agencies have stepped in. The International Energy Agency, IEA, has just made a historic proposal, activating the release of massive amounts of oil from strategic reserves. They are considering pumping 300 to 400 million barrels of oil into the market. This would be the largest stockpile release in history, double the record release in 2022 when the conflict in Ukraine broke out. But having oil in storage is one thing. Getting it to market and cooling prices is a completely different challenge. According to the latest assessment from JP Morgan, even if the IEA executes this massive release, the global daily supply would only be supplemented by about 1 to 2 million barrels per day. Let's do some simple math. We are losing 20 million barrels per day due to the gridlock at Hormuz, and the stockpile release only compensates for a maximum of 10% of that shortage. Financial markets understand this truth very well. That is why Brent crude prices remain anchored at high levels despite promises. Countries like Japan cannot even wait for collective decisions.